So during the course of it, we have done this once or twice before. There will be certain mudras which I would like you to make. Those of you who want to do it, others, compare to do it. Choice is yours. And you will see, maybe I'll just show you. So the mudras will be simple, like index finger touching thumb, right? Then you join with the middle finger, ring finger, small finger. Spin your hand around like that. You touch different parts of your body, I will show you. So you have to look at me, and if you could visualize Hanuman Baba while looking at me, it might do you well, if that is possible. Right? But during the course of this entire kavach also, there will be little bit of howl in between. So as I told you, when I say Swaha, you are overeating. So just stand ready. Okay? So we all concentrate on Pawan Kutu Bacharan Bari, visualizing. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha, Tat Panchmukh Hanuman Kavacham. Om Sri Panchavadanayi Anjaneyaya Namaha. Om Asa Sri Panchamukh Hanumat Mantrasya Brahma Rishi. Gayatri Chanda Panchmukh Virat Hanuman Jayanti. Krim Bijam Srim Shakti. Kraum Kilakam Kurum Kavacham. Kraim Astrai Pat. Iti Dipandha. Sigaru Vacha. Adadhyanam Prabhakshyami. Shunu Sarvanga Sundari. Yad Kritam Devadevena. Dhyanam Hanumatah Priyam. Panchabhaktam Mahabhimam. Tripanchanayanayar Yutam. Bahubhir Dashabhir Yuktam. Sarva Kamartha Siddhidam. Purvam Tu Vanaram Bhaktram. Koti Surya Samaprabham. Danshakaral Varanam. Bhruti Kutulekshanam. Asyaiva Dakshinam Bhaktram. Narasinham Mahadbhutam. Atyuga Tejo Bakusham. Dishanam Bhayanashanam. Paschimam Garadan Bhaktram. Vaktatundam Mahabalam. Sarvanaga Prashamanam. Vish Bhutari Krintanam. Uttaram Saukaram Bhaktram. Krishnam Diktam Nubhupamam. Patala Singh Vetala. Jor Rog Adi Krintanam. Urdhang Hayadanam Ghuram. Danavanta Karamparam. Ena Bhaktina Viprendra. Tarkakyam Mahasuram. Jaghana Sharanam Tatsyat. Sarvashattu Haramparam. Dhyapa Panchmukham Rudram. Hanumandam Dayadidev. Kadham Tishuram Khatpangam. Pasham Kushaparvatam. Mushtim Kamodakim Vriksham. Dharayantam Kamandalum. Bhindi Palam Dhyanamutran. Dashadhir Muni Pungavam. Etan Ayudhjalami. Dharayantam Bhajamyam. Preta Sanupavishtam Tam Sarvabharna Bhushitam. Divya Maryam Bhardharam. Divya Gandhan Puripanam. Sarvashayrimayam Devam. Hanumat Vishvatumukam. Panchasam Atyutam. Aneka Vichitra Varna Bhaktam. Shashanka Shikharam Kapiraja Varyam. Pitambaradi Mukutayar Rupa Shobhitangam. Pigakshamadya Manishan Manasasmarami. Markatesha Mahutsaham. Sarva Shattu Haram Param. Shattu Sangharman Raksha. Siman Naparam Uddhara. Om Hari Markat Markat Mantaminam. Parilikhiti Likhiti Vamatari. Yadi Nashiti Nashiti Shatkaram. Yadi Mujjati Munjati Vamarata. Om Hari Markataya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Panchapadanai. Purva Kapi Mukhai. Sakal Sattu Sanharanai Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Panchapadanai. Dakshin Mukhai. Karal Padanai. Narasimhaya. Sakal Bhuta Pramatha Naya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Panchapadanai. Pancha Paschim Mukhaya. Garudananaya. Sakal Vishwaraya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Panchapadanai. Uttar Mukhaya. Adi Varahaya. Sakal Sampatkaraya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Panchapadanaya. Urdhva Mukhaya. Hagrivaya. Sakala Jana Vashankaraya Swaha. Om Asa Sri Panchamukh Hanumat Mantrasya. Te Ramchandra Rishi. Anushtup Chandaha. Panchamukh Vir Hanuman Devata. Hanuman iti Bijam. Vayu Putra iti Shakti. Anjani Suk iti Kevakam. Te Ramdut Hanumat Prasasit Harte Jape Vinyoga. Iti Rishi Adikam Vinyasi. Now we do the mudras. Om Anjani Sutai Angushtabhyam Namaha. ओम रुद्रमूर्तये तर्जनीभ्यां नमः। ओम वायुपुत्राय मध्यमाभ्यां नमः। ओम अग्निगर्भाय अनामिकाभ्यां नमः। ओम रामदूताय कनिष्ठकाभ्यां नमः। ओम पंचमुख हनुमते करतलकरपृष्ठाभ्यां नमः। ओम इति कर्म्यास। ओम अंजनीसुताय हृदयाय नमः तश्लिहादेव्यम्। ओम रुद्रमूर्तये शिरसे स्वाहा है। ओम वायुपुत्राय शिखाय भगत by the churki supposed to be. Om Agni Garbhaya Kavachai Hum, both hands crossing, touching the shoulders. Om Ramadutaya Netratrai Bhokat, ring finger, middle finger and index finger touching both eyes, middle finger touching the middle of the forehead. Om Panchamukh Hanumate Swaha Iti Digbandha Atadhyanam Vanne Vanar Nar Singha Kahara Krudashva Pranvitam Divyalankaranan Kripanchanayanam Nidityamanam Nucha Hastajaya Sikita Pustak Sudha Kumbhang Kushadringhanam Khatmangam Panibhuraham Dashabhujan Sarvadi Viratpaham Atamantra Om Sri Ramadutaya Anjaneyaya Vayuputtaya Mahabal Parakramaya Sita Dukh Nivaranaya Lanka Dahan Karanaya महाबल प्रचंडाय फाल्गुन सखाय कोलाहल सकल ब्रह्मांड विश्व रूपाय सप्त समुद्र निर्लंघनाय पिंगल नयनाय अमित विक्रमाय सूर्य बिंब फल सेवनाय दुष्ट निवारणाय दृष्टि निरालंकृताय संजीवनी संजीवित अंगद लक्ष्मण महाकपि सैन प्राणदाय दशकन विध्वंसनाय रामेष्टाय महाफाल्गुन सखाय सीता सहित राम वट प्रदायम खत प्रयोगागम पंचमुख वेगमत मंत्र जपे विनियोगा। ओम हरि मरकत मरकताय बम 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 बौखत स्वाहा। ओम हरि मरकत मरकताय फम 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 फत स्वाहा। ओम हरि मरकत मरकताय खेम 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 मारनाय स्वाहा। ओम हरि मरकत मरकताय लूम 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 आकर्षित सकल संपत्त कराय स्वाहा। ओम हरि मरकत मरकताय धम 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 शत्रु स्तंभनाय स्वाहा। ओम टम 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 पूर्व मूर्तये पंचमुख वीर हनुमते परयंत्र परतंत्र उचातनाय स्वाहा। ओम कं खं गं घं गं चम चम झम झम यम टम ठम डम ढम नम टम थम डम ढम नम पम फम बम भम मम यम रम लम वम शम खम सम हम लम शम स्वाहा। इति दिग्बंध। ओम पूर्व कपिमुखाय पंचमुख हनुमते टम 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 सकल शत्रु संहारणाय स्वाहा। ओम दक्षिण मुखाय पंचमुख हनुमते कराल वदनाय नरसिंहाय ओम ह्राम ह्रीम ह्रूम ह्रैम ह्रौम ह्रः सकल भूत प्रेत दमनाय स्वाहा। ओम पश्चिम मुखाय गरुडाननाय पंचमुख हनुमते मम 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 सकल विश्वराय स्वाहा। ओम उत्तर मुखाय आदि वराहाय लम 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 नरसिंहाय नीलकंठ मूर्ते पंचमुख हनुमते स्वाहा। ओम ऊर्ध्व मुखाय हयग्रीवाय रुम 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 रुद्रमूर्ते सकल प्रयोजन निर्वाहकाय स्वाहा। ओम अनेनिसुताय वायुपुत्राय महाबलाय सीता शोक निवारणाय श्री रामचंद्र कृपा पादुकाय महावीर प्रमथनाय ब्रह्मांडनाथाय कामदाय पंचमुख वीर हनुमते स्वाहा। भूत प्रेत पिशाच ब्रह्म राक्षस शाकिनी डाकिनी अंतरिक्ष ग्रह पर्यंत परतंत्र उचातनाय स्वाहा। सकल प्रयोजन निर्वाहकाय पंचमुख वीर हनुमते श्री रामचंद्र वर प्रसादाय जम 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 स्वाहा। इदं कवचं पठित्वा तु महाकवचं पठे नरः एकवारं जपे स्तोत्रं सर्वशत्रु निवारणं द्विवारं तु पठे नित्यं पुत्र पौत्र प्रवर्तनं त्रिवारं च पठे नित्यं सर्वसंपत्करं शुभं चतुर्वारं पठे नित्यं सर्वरोग निवारणं पंचवारं पठे नित्यं सर्वलोकवशंकरं खट्वारं च पठे नित्यं सर्वदेव वशंकरं सप्तवारं पठे नित्यं सर्वसौभाग्यदायकं अष्टवारं पठे नित्यं इष्टकामार्थसिद्धिरं नववारं पठे नित्यं राजभोगमवाप्नुयात् दशवारं पठे नित्यं त्रैलोक्यज्ञानदर्शनं रुद्रावृत्तिं पते नित्यं सर्वसिद्धिर्भवेत्त्वं निर्बलो रोगयुक्तश्च महाव्याधिपीडितः कवचस्मरणेनैव महाबलमवाप्नुयात् इति श्रीसुदर्शन संहितायां श्रीरामचंद्र सीता प्रोक्तं श्रीपंचमुख हनुमत कवचं संपूर्णम्। ओम अद्वैत बलधामं स्वर्णशैलापदेहं धनुष्वन्कृशानं ज्ञानिनामाग्रगण्यं सकलगुणनिधानं वानराणाधीशं रघुपति प्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि। ओम कपिरूपं गदाहस्तं सर्वराक्षसमर्दनम् आवाहनं करन्वीरं सर्वसिद्धिप्रदायकम्। ओम मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसं नमामि। ओम श्री हनुमते नमः। बंधु पवन कुमार खलबन पावक ज्ञानगम जासु हृदय आधार वसी राम शरचापधरा। ओम हनुमान अंजनी सुनूर वायुपुत्र महाबल रामेश्वर फाल्गुन सगः पिंगाल शोभित विक्रमः उदतिक्रमणश्चैव सीताशोक विनाशनं लक्ष्मण प्राणदाता च दशग्री वस्य दर्पः। ओम तत्सत् श्री वायुपुत्राय नमो नमः। ओम श्री हनुमते नमः। बोलिए श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। You will do Hanuman Chalisa one more time, and then we will get into discourse. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधार वरदो रघुबर विमल यश जो दायक प्रचार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार।
Thank you.
8.
बोले श्री उमावती महादेव की जय। बोले श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। Welcome devotees to our Hanuman Jayanti celebrations. This evening we reflect on the principle of Sri Hanumanji and we aim to engage in devotion and the extraction of some knowledge for our own benefit. First, I'd like to glorify Bhagavan Shankar, so let's join together in Kirtan. Shiva Hare Hare Shiva Hare Samba Sada Shiva Hare Shiva Hare Hare Shiva Hare Shiva Hare Hare Shiva Samba Sada Shiva Hare Har 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 Mahadeva Har 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 Parvati Shri बोल श्री उमापति महादेव की जय. And now you concentrate on Sri Hanuman. पिता गुरु गणपति शारद माता पिता गुरु माता पिता गुरु गणपति शारद शिव समेत शंभु सुखनारायण शिव समेत शंभु सुखनारायण मंगल मूर्ति मारुतनंदन बंदो सबका चरण बंदो सबका देहु राम पद देहु देहु राम पद मेरु निभाहु मंगल मूर्ति मारुतनंदन जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करो गुरुदेव की कृपा करो गुरुदेव की मंगल मूर्ति मारुतनंदन तुलसी के परम सने यह तुलसी के परम सने मंगल मूर्ति मारुतनंदन सकल मंगल मूर्ति सकल मंगल मूर्ति मंगल मारुतनंदन मंगल मूर्ति मारुतनंदन मंगल बोले श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की As it is Hanuman Jayanti devotees, there is always some mythology behind the celebration. So this evening what I will do, I will briefly go through this incident of the birth of Sri Hanuman, as it were, and we all know the story in brief, and then we will look at its practical application for the here and now. This story incident is taken from the Valmiki Ramayana, Kishkindha Kand, chapter 66, and it deals with how Hanuman Baba was reminded of his birth, what took place, because apparently he was unaware. He forgot. Now we all know the story where the monkeys and bears in search of Sita Devi, they came to the ocean and they couldn't go any further, and Sita Devi was of course being kept in Lanka. So at this point in time, nobody had the capability really to get across, except for Sri Hanumanji. But as with most people, we have the capability, but the problem is we just don't know it. So Hanumanji is sitting there quietly, and he needed somebody to remind him that he is the one who can solve this problem. He has all of the powers available to him, the resource in order to get the job done. But if he's unaware, then he needs to be reminded. And who was there to remind him? We say Jambavant or Jambavan, as in the Valmiki Ramayana. This old bear, as it were, he took it upon himself to go to Hanumanji and remind him of how he was born, and remind him of his powers, and remind him how he forgot his powers. So, as we go through, I'll be presenting some shlokas from Valmiki Ramayana. We can't do all, but as I like to do, we translate directly. So, we look at the story in general, and then when we get to the end, once we're all familiar with the story, we will go through and look at the application. So, we begin where Jamavant is saying something to Sri Hanumanji. So to set up the scene, what took place? Anek Shat Sahasrim Vishananam Harivahini Jamavan Samudiksha Evam Hanumantam Atha Abrave Veeravanar Sarvashastra Vidamvara Tushani Ekantam Ashritya Hanuman Kinna Jalvase Sri Hanumate Namah. Aneka Shata Sahasrim. So these hundreds of thousands of monkeys gathered there, a lot of them, they were quite worried, Vishana, and they didn't know how to proceed any further. Now Jamavan Samudiksha Evam, Jamavan, seeing them in this way, he now turned to Hanumanji and he said, Veeravanar Lokasya. So, O Hanumanji, you are the choicest one, the best among scholars. In other words, you have the knowledge. You are well versed, Sarva Shastra, in all of the Shastras, the knowledge from scriptures. Then why do you sit quietly? Why are you sitting there alone as if you don't know anything? Why don't you not speak? Hanuman Kimna Jalpasi. Why are you not speaking? O leader of the monkeys, Jamon is saying, you are superior in strength, wisdom, brilliance, valor. Why do you not realize your own strength? How come are you sitting so quietly? And so saying, Jamavant is saying, let me remind you in this way, O Hanumanji, of your origin, because it seems that you have forgotten. Jamavant then said, Apsara Sam Shrestha Vikhyata Punjika Stala Anjana iti parikhyata Patni Kesarino Hare Vikhyata Trishu Lokeshu Rupena Apratima Bhuvi Abhishapat Abhutat Kapitve Kam Rupini Sri Hanumate Namah. Among Apsaras, celestial nymphs, you all know there's a restaurant called Apsara in Trinidad. Yes, it means, a celestial nymph or beautiful lady. So among Apsaras, the nicest and most renowned one, her name was Punji Kasthala. Punji Kasthala. She became known as Anjana, or we say Anjani, Anjana, the wife of Kesari, who was a monkey king. She was famous in the three worlds for what? Her beauty, quite beautiful. But by a curse, she took the form of, a monkey, as it were, on the earth. And so she was married to the great Kesari, who was a monkey king. Now, she was also the daughter of a great king called Kunjara. And, her beauty preceded her. She was well known all around how beautiful she was. What happened one day? Vichitramaya abharana kadachit kasaumadharini acharat parvatasya agre pravridamboda sannidhe Sri Hanumate Namah. Decked with wonderful garlands, beautiful ornaments, and wonderful flowing silk clothes, she went for a walk on top of the mountain, in a mountainous area. And she was so beautiful moving around there. In terms of the poetry, she appeared like a proud rain cloud, moving beautifully across the top. The clothes she had on was quite beautiful. It was a yellow garment with red borders on it. And while she was walking around there, something happened to her. Tasya vastram vishala khasya pitam rakta dasham shubham sthitaya parvatasya agre maruto apaharat shannaih सा तु तत्र एव सम्भ्रान्ता सुवृत्ता वाक्यम् अब्रवीत् एकपत्नी व्रतम् इदं को नाशयितुम् इच्छति श्री हनुमते नमः. While strolling along this mountain top, it is said that she started to feel that her clothes were being blown up in a strange sort of way, as if there was some force, moving around her. And so, Marutah Shanaiha Aparahat is as if the god of wind was blowing around her, closer. Now, this was sort of like if, someone was trying to hug her. Okay? So imagine you walking around by yourself and you can't see anything, but you feel like this force trying to almost grab you. Right? Especially late in the night maybe. So you get scared. But she found this to be quite strange. So she was quite confused with this sort of invisible hugging, touching. And she said, "Who is this?" So she said out loud, "Who is this who wishes to destroy my vow?" What vow? Ekpatni vratam. So, she was devoted to her husband and she wanted to know who is this that's trying to interfere with me. So quite startled, she blurted this out. And she waited for an answer. Very strange. What happened next? Anjanaya vachah shruva marutah pratyabhashata na tvam himsami sushroni ma bhute manasoi bhayam manasa asmi gato yatvam parishvajaya yashvini vidyavam buddhi sampanah putrah tava bhaveshyati Sri Hanumate Namah. On hearing these words, the wind god, as it were, Vayu Devata, replied. So she wasn't seeing anything, but she heard words. And this Vayu Devata, this wind said, "I do not dishonor you, my dear lady." And the words they use here, Sushrohni, which is high hips. So, oh beautiful hip one. I do not dishonor you, O beautiful high-hipped one. Do not let fear take hold in your mind. Mabhute manasoi bhayam. No fear in mind. O lady, O beautiful one, I have embraced you and, joined with you mentally and physically as a blessing to you. Why? Because you will bring forth a son endowed with great wisdom, great courage, a wonderful son, a powerful son. So what I am doing, I am blessing you here. How will he be? I am blessing this son of yours so that he will be pure, he will be brave, strong, resplendent, forceful, courageous, and he will be my equal in leaping and flying everywhere, just like the wind. Okay, so we know the power of wind devotees, how it moves, and this blessing that is being put here is, Vayu Devata is saying equal to me. And so, what happened? Evam hutta tatah tushta janani te mahakape guhayam tvam mahabaho prajagne plavagrasava Sri Hanumate Namah. In this way, Anjani, she was satisfied, she took solace in this explanation, and eventually it is said in a cave, Jamban is saying, remember, Jamban is saying to Hanuman, in a cave she had you, or you appeared, in other words, the best among, flyers, the best among jumpers. And so, devotees, here you have the birth of Sri Hanumanji, how he came to be, due to this very, very strange incident as was described. Bole Sri Pawan Putra Hanuman Ki Jai. Let's glorify Prabhu Hanumanji, Sri Hanumanji, and then we'll go on to listen to what else happened. जय हनुमान महान ज्ञान गुण के अधिकारी जय हनुमान महान ज्ञान गुण के अधिकारी जय हनुमान महान ज्ञान गुण के अधिकारी जिनकी तीरथ विरत राम सिंह कौन प्यारी प्यारी जय हनुमान महान ज्ञान गुण के अधिकारी जय हनुमान महान ज्ञान गुण के अधिकारी गतिमति भगति नाम संकीर्तन धारी विनती गतिमति भगति नाम संकीर्तन धारी Hanuman ki jai. Now devotees, we heard of another incident where when Sri Hanumanji was young, he tried to do something. So briefly, I'll just put it to you. Jamwant is saying also to Sri Hanumanji, after you were born, Sri Hanuman, you saw the sun rising up, behind this large forest. And it looked to you like a ripe red fruit. And so thinking it to be a wonderful catch, you hopped up, remember, he had this power to fly like the wind, and you flew towards the sun in the sky, thinking that you could catch this fruit and eat it. And so, oh great Hanumanji, you jumped far, far up. But what happened is that the sun's radiation, so you try to go near to something hot, the heat, the radiation will push you back. The sun's radiation pushed you down, but you were not deterred. You kept trying, kept moving forward. But, Almighty One, even on seeing you coming near, the Devatas and Indra especially, they were quite amazed. Look at this little monkey trying to go towards the sun and to catch it. And so, they wondered, who's this really? Moving up to the heavens and high in the sky, as it were. So what happened? That Indra, king of the Devatas, he got angry and he hurled his thunderbolt at you. So imagine, a lightning strike, knock him down. And what happened? You fell on the edge of a mountain peak, and your left chin, the left part of your chin in your face is zygomatic arch, okay, the bones on your face. It was broken. And since then, you became known as Hanuman. Hanuman literally means the one who has a broken chin or jaw, part of the face, okay? That is what Hanuman means. Then, on seeing that you were hurt, what happened? Vayu, who is, like your father, the wind god, the one who bless you, he became very angry. And what he did, he stopped moving. In other words, the breeze stopped blowing. Stillness everywhere. And when this breeze stopped blowing, there was no air, then what happened? All the gods, so to speak, the principles in nature started to stifle. Can't breathe, no air. So this breath, this movement that causes life to chug on was arrested. And so what happened? They all turned this Vayu, air god as we say, the god of wind, and they begged him, they prayed to him and said, please release the air. And what happened? He made a deal. He said, I will, but you must bless my son. What sort of blessings? Brahmaji agreed to give a boon, a blessing. And this blessing was that Sri Hanumanji cannot be struck by any weapon and killed. So nothing can kill him. Can throw anything at him, he'll be fine. And so other devatas, blessed him as well. Indra, for example, if Indra were to fire his thunderbolt at him again, nothing doing, nothing will happen. And also, he could choose to die when he wished, only when he wished. So now this young Hanuman had all of these powers. He was basically invincible, like Superman, right? Nothing could happen to him. But so being, young and chanchal, he started to tease the sages, cause a lot of trouble. And so for his own protection and their protection, they gave him, we call it a minor srapa, a minor curse, You will forget your origins, you will forget your powers. So instantly, he became calm. So you know how monkey is, always jumping around. Hanuman is not like that. Why? Well, a little srap from the sages helped him. And he was immediately calm, peaceful, not chanchal, and not using all of these powers for no good. Okay? And so devotees, that is a wonderful little incident that we all know. And the story goes on, where Jamwant encouraged Sri Hanuman, and so he, remembered his powers, his strength. He grew in size, and then eventually, we know how the story goes, he jumped forward and he went on, to play a pivotal role in this story of the Ramayana, to meet Sita Devi, etc. But from the story point of view, I'll leave it there now. So, Bole Sri Pawan Putra Hanuman Ki Jai. Now I'm sure we all know this story. And now, the wonderful question we ask, so what? So what? Nice, but so what? Now, we're going to look at this story again, and remember, I have just one focus. So, this focus is the application of what is taking place here to you and I. That's all. For me, that's the only important thing. So forget the world for a bit, all of the theatrics. What should I make of this? A Jayanti means a birth. We have all these Jayantis. So clearly it has to mean something more than Hanuman somewhere. If Jayanti means a birth, it has to mean a birth or a realization inside each person. Not so? For it to be relevant. So what is it? Now, let's just go through the story again in simple terms and look at what it means and the application of it. So the first part, we have the birth of Sri Hanumanji. You've heard that Hanuman in Hinduism is, Hanuman serves to represent the mind. So clearly, if we talk about Hanuman Jayanti, the question that should come to mind is, what is the origin of our mind? That's a good question. So right now we're not interested how Hanuman appeared and what and what. If it is the mind that you are using to analyze everything I'm saying right now, where did it come from? Where is it going? Is it you? Well, let's see if we can figure out something from this story. And so we begin. I will use the names. Jambavan or Jambavant, the root is Jam. And that means crushing, consuming, or swallowing. So what happens, devotees, we don't have any interest in how we work, meaning how our psychology works. We have no interest until we have some Jamavan, some crushing, some problem in life, suffering. Okay? So Jamavan is telling Hanuman here, there is some problem that has to be addressed. So Jamavan represents finding ourselves in some difficult situation. You have a medical condition, you have some illness, a family member dies, people leaving you and going, whatever it may be, some problem that causes you to think, hey, what is all this about? This is Jamavan. Now, how does Hanuman or the mind come about? The answer is right here. The mother first, her name was Punji Kasthala. Punji in Sanskrit means a heap, a quantity or a mass. And sthala means a container. So Punji Kasthala means a container, a mass, a quantity of something. But of what? Okay. Now, you heard me mention before this term called Vasana. Have you ever wondered why it is you want the things that you want? Some people want to be spiritual, some people want a new car, some people want a good boyfriend, some people want a good wife. They want this, you want that, and it changes, but why? And you feel like you really want it. If you don't get it, everything is lost. Why do we feel like this, or how? And the answer in Sanatana Dharma comes very deep in your subconscious. There is something called a vasana. A vasana is like a little seed deep inside of you that expresses itself as all of these desires. And the trick is, well, later on we've spoken about, eliminating these vasanas because it leads to trouble. But anyway, going back to the story, Punji Kasthala means a heap of tendencies or vasanas. Okay? So I'm trying to put to you how the mind is born, how Hanuman is born. Now this Punji Kasthala became known as Anjana or Anjani. Anj, the Sanskrit root Anj means to cause, to appear, to make clear, to manifest. So Punjikasthala, being born as Anjani, means that this heap of tendencies you have in you, the desires, being manifest in the mind, okay, which will come. But the manifestation, the mother of Hanuman, is the cause to manifest these vasanas. And the only missing thing here is Vayu. Vayu, who blessed Anjani. Vayu means what? Not really wind, but movement. Movement, to move. So therefore, devotees, putting it together, Vayu plus Anjana means the cause of the internal movements of your mind. So in other words, when your mind is moving, it is based on desires. When your mind is quiet, there's no movement, then there's no mind at play. Understand? Mind, no mind. So the question is, if this is your mind, then what is you? Are you your mind? Come to that as another point. But this here, in simple form, is put to us that the birth of the mind, of your mind in every person, comes from the movement of these subtle desires that you have inside, this bundle of desires called vasanas. And you will never be happy if you keep chasing behind these vasanas. So now Anjani gave birth to Hanuman. What is Hanuman? Hanuman is the mind. But the meaning of Hanuman is that one with a broken jaw when he was initially born, not so? So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is Hanuman perfect or is he disfigured? Your mind, devotees, in its initial state is disfigured. You have a broken jaw. Now you will see with the story of Hanuman how it progresses. Is it clear so far? So I'm just trying to show using the characters here that it's not really a story, it's an internal process of creation of you and I. And Hanuman, initially with the broken jaw, is our mind. So all of us have Hanuman right now, but it's the broken jaw Hanuman. He hasn't been given the powers as yet, hasn't been self-realized. Okay? So now Jama 1, pressure or problems going to force you to figure out, well, where you really came from. What is the, your mind? Why am I experiencing all of this? So now we move to Hanuman. Now, the word Hanuman, as I mentioned, means broken jaw. But I could break up the word Hanuman into 4 different meanings. And I don't expect you to remember, but we sing in Hanuman, Hanuman, and those of you who expect Hanuman to appear and solve your problems, good. But those of you who want to go a step deeper, take the name and realize it. It is something internal, an internal process. So briefly, I'll just tell you. Hanuman, you can break it up in various ways. You have Hanu and Man. Hanu means wisdom, Man means mind, thought mind. So, one who has a mind filled with wisdom. What kind of wisdom? True wisdom that has to do with yourself, not really knowing about the world, your true nature. Okay? That's number 1. Meaning number 2, Han means to destroy and Man means pride. So, Hanuman represents humility. So, Hanuman means to destroy this pride in your mind and remain humble. Are you humble? Let me see how many of you are humble. Raise your hand if you're humble. Okay, so everybody's humble. You know the trick, right? Because if you raise your hand, then you're not humble. The moment you say, I am humble, you're not humble. So, well done. Hanuman means the practice of humility. Second meaning. Third meaning, Ha means to destroy. Hanuman means inference. In other words, logical thinking. And basically, what the name Hanuman is saying in your mind, a lot of us get carried away with this sort of paralysis by analysis. You want to analyze everything, why it happened, how it happened, what your karma is, what you want to do. And Hanuman, look at his attitude. Don't worry about none of that. Hanuman. Inference will take you up to a certain point, but you cannot think yourself to God. Otherwise, you're just playing games. Hanuman. Number 3. And number 4. Ha is Shiva. Anu means beyond, and Man means thought. The deepest meaning. Ha, Shiva, is the Anu beyond Man, mind. Now we always say what lies between thought? Shiva, that self you're always looking for. So, four meanings of the word Hanuman. Nothing to do with reform, nothing to do with jumping around, but all internal processes. Pick one. Pick one, depending on where you are. Decide, am I going to practice humility? You want to develop an internal Hanuman. Okay. Now, to address the last part, this little incident. Hanumanji flying to the sun. So of course, what happens, devotees, we have, our minds are like broken jaws, right? Like Hanuman. It's not right. You don't have right thinking. What happens when we don't have right thinking? We see the sun like a fruit and we want to go and grab it. So what happens is that we all think that happiness is to be found in the world, like a fruit. You want to go and enjoy it. So you go towards the light. You think the sun, meaning the world, it lights up the world, all the enjoyment is out there. So you rush to go and get it. Yes? So this is Hanuman, all of us in our minds, in our lives, trying to go and grab at things in the world to make us happy. Remember the story? The man who's sitting under the tree? He will go outside, get burned up under the sun, come back under the tree. Go outside, do something else, get burned up again, come back under the tree. You understand? Pleasure and pain we experience, but no lasting happiness. This is how we behave. This is Hanuman flying to the sun. In our minds, our broken minds, we keep thinking, outside happy, and outside saying, no, not happy. So it's like trying to grab a mirage. You grab nothing. Remember, devotees, as I mentioned before, everything's already broken. It's just a matter of when. So what happens is Hanuman gets struck down by Indra. And Indra means here your own senses. Okay? Indra means sense. But what that means is that your senses are struck down in the sense that this satisfaction you're looking for is just fleeting. Your senses are titillated for a short time and then they go back. So there's no lasting happiness there. Okay? Now, when we realize that happens, Hanuman falls down and you really feel the pain of the broken jaw. But then what happens is that a realization should come that to get what you want, the wind has to stop blowing. Now, the general principle here in the world is movement. So, whether you withhold the breath, you still the mind, whatever it may be. Remember, Shiva is Shi and Va, made up of stillness and movement. Va is movement. It's the same principle. If you want happiness, you have to go beyond the Shi to the Va, which is stillness. So this act of stopping movement is the key method that is suggested. The Bible says, be still and know that I am God. That is true. But you have to understand what it means. What is to be still? It means to still your mind. Evidence? Yogas chitta vritti nirodhaha. Yoga is the stilling of these fluctuations in the mind. Okay, vritti. And vrittis come from vasana. I just mentioned. That's why your mind goes all over the place. Everything you think, all your beliefs. Okay? So when the wind stops blowing, devotees, you see, let me explain like this. All of the methods we have, prayer, meditation, contemplation. The end result is to stop your mind from moving all over and to get you, just like Hanuman, to turn to face Sri Ram, to turn to face your inward self. The mind is not you. That's the point. So the stillness, whether you choose to sing and pray and dissolve your mind completely, whether you choose to question the mind, look at it and see the falsehood of it, whatever it may be, the end result is the same, the death of the mind. But the death of the mind is not death of you. The wind stops blowing. And finally, when that happens, what happens? Brahma gives a boon. In other words, nothing could harm us after that. The senses, the world cannot affect us. Vivek, Vairag, self-control, these things develop. Meaning that you could throw whatever, you could kill me, you could shoot me, you could do whatever it is. But I know that I am beyond all of this. I last. And therefore, this fear that we experience, we really move into the realized Hanuman, not the Chanchal Hanuman from before with the broken jaw. Make sense? So this, what seems like a nice little story, is the process again. If you take every Jayanti celebration, every time it's the same thing. It's the same thing over and over. But the problem is we have to keep saying it over and over because people just don't identify or realize. You just have to keep doing it over and over and over again until it brings home inside of you, until you understand what it is about. You know, you're not just hearing a story, you're not just inspired, you know what it is. Okay? Alright. So, I hope that wasn't too much, but for me, it's the beautiful katha, the meaning of Hanuman, and it goes with me wherever I go. Hanuman Jayanti is every day, you know, if you know what it is about. So devotees, you reflect on this, and as I conclude here, what I will do, I'll just put one final thing to you, and we'll glorify Hanumanji. I'll pass over to the Padmacharya. You know, most people sing, we all sing before, Bhoot Pisach Nikat Nahi Aave, Mahabhi Jab Naam Sunave. So let me see, how many of you believe in Bhoot as a spirit outside? Let me see a hand. Don't be afraid, I'm not judging anybody. How many of you believe in spirit? Let me see a hand. How many of you have seen a spirit? Anybody? I don't mean your husband, eh? No? Alright? You know what a pisach is? No? Alright. Again, coming back to Hanuman, those of you who want to believe in Bhoot and Pisach, you go ahead. You pray, that is fine. Those of you who want something a little more, what is Bhoot? What is Pisach? Bhoot, which is ghost, is a fear. And a fear that arises from Bhoot, to become, from belief. So Bhoot means the fear that arises in you from your own beliefs. Bhoot, elemental. So, you know, we have various beliefs. We say, Anavamal, I believe I am incomplete. Maimal, I believe I am separate from everybody else. Karmamal, I believe, you know, the things I do, the relationships I have will bring me happiness. But these are all beliefs. And the idea here is, Bhoot Pisach Nikat Nahi Aave, Mahabhi Jab Naam Sunave. When you know who Hanuman is, the right Hanuman inside, then you are not caught up or limited by your Bhoot, your beliefs. What do you believe in? Why do you believe in it? It determines how you act. But at the end of the day, devotees, beliefs are just beliefs. It doesn't have to be true. Most people believe all kind of things. Some people believe the world flat. Some people believe the COVID vaccine will kill them. All kind of things. And they ignore evidence, whether it's true or not. It has nothing to do with truth. It has to do with belief. And this is amazing, devotees. Human psychology and belief is the root of all your problems. As you believe, so you are. But Bhoot, getting rid of the Bhoot, means going beyond all of these limiting beliefs inside of you. And the next one is Pisach. What's a Pisach? A Pisach is Shrek, like an ogre. But really what a Pisach is the fear and pain that comes from other creatures around you. It is Adi Bhautik pain. The evidence for this, Vishnu Puran. It describes what a Pisach is. It's not a creature. It's what it's what happens to you, around you, with people, animals, all sort of things. They come and they do you something. Criminals come in your yard, Adi Bhautik. You understand? You know, so they inflict pain. You know, birds come and bite you, right? Things come and attack you. That is surroundings. Let me put it like that. But the thing about it, when you say Pisach Nikat Nahi Aave, it means to move beyond this perception of fear of all of these things coming around you. And what's the only way to solve that? The only way to solve that problem is to see everything around you as the same as you. Hard to do, because it's not physically the same, but in essence, the same self is playing this one game everywhere. So the only way that you could drop your fear of Bhoot and Pisach here is if you see the world in a different way, you have maturity of your own mind. Understand? So sorry to kill Hanuman Jayanti for you. Those of you like the Kapan saying that is fine. But for me, the inmost essence, the practice, the thing that will take you somewhere, this is the essence. So when you sing, I wonder what goes through your head when you sing Bhoot Pisach Nikat Nahi Aave, Mahabhi Jab Naam Sunave, and I don't know, maybe you're imagining that you see a spirit come by your front door when you go home, and then, you know, Hanuman Baba will come and take the mudra and beat the spirit, and these sort of things. Again, that is fine. But if you are interested in going beyond the limitations of yourself, this is the idea here. call on Sri Hanuman, we develop your own mind through mantras, through the practices that we have, and then you would see the magic taking place. Okay. So devotees, I leave you this brief message tonight, and at this point, let's glorify Hanuman Baba one last time, and I'll pass over to the Parvasha. बोलो सदा जयकार पवन सुत महाबली के, बोलो सदा जयकार पवन सुत महाबली के, बोलो सदा सदा जयकार पवन सुत महाबली केसरी नंदन बलिधारी की, केसरी नंदन बलिधारी की, मारुति नंदन उपकारी की, मारुति नंदन उपकारी की, आओ करे सेवा पवन सुत महाबली की, आओ करे सेवा पवन सुत महाबली की। अपनी कबीज को मन में बसा दे, अपनी कबीज को मन में बसा दे, निज करो पूजन दर पे आगे, निज करो पूजन दर पे आगे, आओ शरण सुरक्षा पवन सुत महाबली की, आओ शरण सुरक्षा पवन सुत महाबली की, बोलो सदा संकट मोचन नाम जो ध्यावे, संकट मोचन नाम जो ध्यावे, संकट उसके पास न आवे, संकट उसके पास न आवे, महिमा गाए दिन रात पवन सुत महाबली की, महिमा गाए दिन रात पवन सुत महाबली की, बोलो सदा जयकार 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 पवन सुत महाबली की। बोले श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय।
बोले श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। Devotees, you have listened to interpretation of the simple episode that we know how Hanumanji appeared, and as Banerjee referred to them as processes that take place within each of us. This is the technical aspect of it, clarify processes. Now, what I would like to do, we would like to just glorify Pawan Putra through a wonderful composition of the series, Ashtak, 8 verses. We may not fully understand, or we may not understand at all what are we saying here, but it's quite okay. Remember, in religion, faith, belief, that simple love cannot supersede everything else otherwise. But there are many devotees who, out of simple love, faith, belief, they found miracles in their lives. But those miracles came about because of the processes that they underwent, because of the approach. It's important to have faith. Scriptures tell us that भवानी शंकर बंदे श्रद्धा विश्वास रूपिणो भवानी शंकर बंदे विश्वास श्रद्धा. These two represent Vishwas and Shraddha, faith and belief. So you must not forget that. There comes a point in time when you have to let go everything and just total faith and belief. But importantly, as you heard, you can't roam about and expect to find that it is something you're looking for. It's not going to happen. It can only come when you stabilize physically, mentally, emotionally, all about stability. This is what is meant to be. I say time and again, that bhajan that says, Gagan Bish Amrika Kua. There is a pond in space, no stairways leading up to it. The crippled man reaches to that spot and gains eternal life. Men with legs, they become crippled. They can't reach. The whole thing symbolizes civilizing. Civilizing yourself, which is what you need to do. And the various strategies have been given to us. Our kirtan, our bhajan, our jap. But then, many times these things also distract us because we are caught up in the superficial aspect of it. The Vedas, the holy books have given to us various upai, various strategies to free Atma, as we say, to put it in simple terms, to free spirit from matter. But rather than free, it becomes more complicated because of, as Pandumesh mentioned, vasanas, those subtle desires that eat us out day and night. Yeah? So it's a very, very difficult journey. This is why some of these sages, the devotees of the past, they say, no, look, what God? I am like a child on your lap. You take care of me. So I want to tell you that I wish back to that point, where I started by saying, Lord, I'm like a child, mantrahinam, kriyahinam, abudh, I'm stupid. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the bhakti. What do I know? A parent will not, a mother will not drop a child. She will always hold on to her child for dear life. So the approach for some of us is like, you know what? I'm like this child on mother's lap. Let me see there. Because the distractions of the world are so many. So devotees, all these practices given to us, all these celebrations and so on and so forth, as my Lord Umesh was mentioning. But so many times we are caught up with the superficial aspect of it. And we have been saying to you, stabilize, get deeper into it. Every time we do a celebration, we should go to a different level spiritually. You have to ask yourself a question, personally, individually. Do you go to a different level? Have you gone to a different level? Are you going to go to a different level? Are you going to slip back down? Different level, I mean up and not down. So you have to determine that, what you're doing. Okay? It depends on you. So, these wonderful compositions by those enlightened sages, they help us just focus, listen. When Hanuman Chalisa said, Bhoot Pisach Nikat Nahi Aave, Mahavir Jab Naam Sunave. Important, listen. The power of this Gyan Indriya, the sense of hearing. The scriptures tell us so many deep things, devotees. The senses impacted upon. So you heard the Katha. When Hanuman was going, Indra struck him unconscious. Indriya, the senses. If you can't overcome them, if you can't conquer them, where are you going? Sense of hearing, sense of sight, olfactory sense, tactile sense, sense of taste. Gyan Indriyas, as well as the Karam Indriyas. Karam Indriyas, a state of inactivity, motionlessness. And of course, Gyan Indriyas, you can't have them trained. And we say like a tortoise pulling all its limbs. This is what we need to be. But again, each person needs to know what you're doing. Okay? You need to know what you're doing. You can't just do anything and expect Hanuman to come and help you. I don't know if you have that belief. But the good is, let's get into Hanuman Ashtak. I want you for a few moments to concentrate. And, you know, in your own way, I keep saying, as I get older, prayer is personal. I can't tell you what to say. I mean, I should tell you what to say. Prayer is a communication between you and what you perceive to be divinity. However you perceive it to be. So you're on your own. I'm on my own. So suggest we pray. Om Tat Sat Sri Ganeshaya Namaha Sri Hanuman Ashtak Stotram. Om Sri Raghuraj Padabja Niketana Pankaja Rochana Mangala Rashi Chanda Mahabhuja Danda Surari Vikhandana Pandita Pahi Dayalu Pat Kinamsha Samudharamam Bhatani Satamupi Manamudaram Vam Bhajatu Mama Dehi Dayagam He Hanuman Supadam Bujirasyam Samsititapa Mahanala Dagdha Tanur Hamar Batanur Tibilam Putra Dhanasvajanatma Grihadishu Satmatirati Kilvisha Murtihim Kena Chidabya Malina Puratmita Punya Supunjala Dena Vibhavai Vam Bhajatu Mama Dehi Dayagam He Hanuman Supadam Bujirasyam Samsiti Kupa Manalpa Madhura Nidhag Nidhamana Jasma Sesham Prabhasatuka Sahasra Bhujanga Vishaika Samakula Sarvatanumi Gura Mahakripana Padameva Gata Sahari Paditasva Bhavabdhao Vam Bhajatu Mama Dehi Dayagam He Hanuman Supadam Bujirasyam Samsiti Sindhu Vishal Karal Mahabalakala Jashatra Sanatam Vyagra Samarvidhiyam Kripanamcha Mahamadanatka Suchakrahitasum Tala Mahara Samumi Vipiritam Uddhara Dinamananda Gatimam Tvam Bhajatu Mama Dehi Dayagam He Hanuman Supadam Bujirasyam Samsiti Ghora Mahagahane Charato Maniranjita Punya Sumurte Manmacha Bhikara Ghora Mahokra Mraga Pravaradita Gata Samute Imatsara Papa Visheshadam Piritam Vahimatesha Katachanameyam Tvam Bhajatu Mama Dehi Dayagam He Hanuman Supadam Bujirasyam Samsiti Vrikshamaneka Shatagam Nidan Mananta Vikarma Sushakam Dukha Phalam Karanadi Patasham Anankastu Pushpam Achinta Sumulam Tamihadi Ruhya Haripadidam Sharanagatam Eva Vimochayamudam Tvam Bhajatu Mama Dehi Dayagam He Hanuman Supadam Bujirasyam Samsiti Pannaga Bhaktar Bhayankara Darksha Mahavisha Dagda Shariram Prana Vinirgama Bhipi Samakulam Anyamanatama Tiva Vishamnam Moha Mahakuhare Patitam Dayayuddhara Mamajitendriya Kamam Tvam Bhajatu Mama Dehi Dayagam He Hanuman Supadam Bujirasyam Indriya Namaka Chaura Ganevita Tattva Viveka Mahadhana Rashi Samsiti Jala Nipadita Mema Mahabali Bhischa Vikhandita Kayam Patpara Parmam Anuttama Masatam Ashuka Pishwara Pahika Paro Tvam Bhajatu Mama Dehi Dayagam He Hanuman Supadam Bujirasyam Brahma Marukkana Rudra Mahendra Kirita Sakoti Lasapara Pitam Dasarathing Japadeshiti Mandala Esha Nidhaya Sadaiv Hridabje Tasya Hanumata Iva Shiva Shankaram Ashtakam Etad Nishtharam Vai Yah Satatam Hi Patel Sanaro Lavati Achyutah Rampadavash Nivasam Idesi Madhur Sudanasram Shish Achudrachitam Alvat Ashtakam Sampurnam Om Kapi Rupam Gadahastam Sarvarakshas Mardanam Avahanam Karam Veeram Sarvasiddhi Pradayakam Om Sri Hanumate Namaha Holy Sri Powerful Hanuman Ki Jai. So devotees, I want to give you the opportunity to pray in your own way. Continue to pray. Simple bhajan which if you feel free, if you don't feel free to join me, tell us our power put the bhajan body. We surrender with him, we depend upon him. He is not Sankat Mochan. Sankat Mochan. Sankata Mochan Nantihara. So, whether you have that distress or not, whether you believe this internal Hanuman, the outer Hanuman, go on each of them. Try to find some relief from whatever stresses you'll be experiencing. Vedi Hanuman Mahaprabhu What problems are there, Pawan Putra Janantami, that you cannot remove? How much of Sankata Mura be the poor ones? We suffer on a daily basis. But there is anything difficult for you, Pawan Putra? You can remove everything that Putra Banai. So here, I create myself in this relationship with you. You are my master. I am your devotee. Take care of my life. Take care of me. I surrender to you. Jai, 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 Hanuman Kripa Karo Jai, 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 Hanuman Kripa Karo Holy Sri Pawan Putra Hanuman ki Jai. Now devotees, I will just like to give you two little incidents that really took place Now, I can't verify, neither can you. But these incidents took place in Trinidad. I'm aware of it. And this I got from Shankaracharya. Now, there was a young man who was an alpinist, as you all are, and he worshipped Hanuman tremendously. Every Tuesday, especially on Saturdays, he would worship Bajrangbali. He knew Hanuman Chalisa by heart, as many of you do. And he was exposed to Hanuman Kavach, Bajrang Ban, Hanuman Satrika. All these are compositions. Hanuman Bahuk, composition of Goswami Tulsidas, that we can use for various purposes. And I myself have used some of these, and I can tell you the effect of it, the power of it. Belief, I think, is important here. So this young fellow was, very good. And he grew up, young boy grew up, a young adulthood. He became a young man, and father gave him a car. Things going very good with him. So when you get a car, you must have partners. So he had many friends, and he began to line. So lining will also entail smoking, drinking, all the vices, so to speak. Not to mention the influences of these other fellows, who, degree by degree, shook up this fellow's mind. You worshiping a monkey boy, monkey god? And some of these were not of Hindu persuasion, the friends. So with the passing of some time and that influence, this boy fell away from performing his puja and duties. He fell away. And after a while, he stopped doing everything at all. He wanted to see the Baba. When he see the Baba, she had Baba Penny Kasaba. Mocking Hinduism. Because you know what? He went the other way. Now, you're free to choose to go where you want to go, But don't condemn what you don't know about. He condemned Hinduism. He went the other way with his partners. Lyman, easy life. No sacrifice. Man could do whatever he wants, but not for how long he wants. Long as you pass him. It is said one day they went canonized today. One went canonized, right? And he wrote this. They had a drink and so on. All they went inside the water, they bathing. This fellow was by himself having his bath. But all of a sudden he felt something pushing him into the water from behind. So he thought it was his bath. They said, but don't do that, nobody. Don't do that. Pushing him some more. And he pushed, and no matter what he did, he couldn't get away. And being pushed into the water, actually he could see the rib behind as he was going down. Nobody was behind him. What was this? What was pushing into the water to drown him? They push him 2 times, 3 times. You see 3 times you go down instead of drink water. But you see his whole life flash before him. And what he saw? The red flag flying. Same red flag flying. And he remembered Hanuman. Bhoot Bisharj Vigat nahi aave, Mahabir jab naam sunave. So now he close to death. So now we start. Jai Hanuman Gyan Gun Sagar. Now we start to say, close to death. He called Hanuman. He called Hanuman forward, Hanuman Baba Hanuman, forward and backward, all how. He tried everything he would do. Jai Hanuman, well he called. But before all that, all the other prayer he learned from the other religion, he said all them things and nothing moved. Nothing moved. When he called upon Hanuman, he felt relief. Look around, there was nothing and nobody around. But he was transport manager too. So he came out of the water, he didn't say about the partners. One thing he can, he tried to leave all of my idea. He called him, come back. You know, he began to reflect. I tried everything and nothing worked. And what I was doing all along, the foot was monkey god, they made me turn my back on it. That is what saved me. He was very, very struck down the Buddhists. And very filled with regret, he wasted his whole life. He went back home, and for about a week or 2, nobody could see him. He began to reflect. This is sometimes we have to have some incident in our lives to shake us up now. And then the Buddhists he realized that he wanted to do Hanuman Puja. But I was doing this was my power, my guidance strength. He went to Baba. When he called Baba, Baba said, go from here, I'm never come here before. Because he would normally pass and try to condemn Hinduism, mock the Baba. First thing, Baba, please, listen to me, I really want to talk to you. Please. And he explained what happened to him. He said, Baba would do Hanuman Puja. For 5 years, this man do Puja. And every year, he put up 5 flags for Hanuman Baba. And every year, he got bamboo easy. He told Baba, he said, Baba would do Hanuman Puja. But for 5 years, I never do Hanuman Puja. I want to put up 25 flags. He turned around and he got back into his Hanuman Puja. That happened here. Another one devotee, Hanuman Shakti. A very big bush Hanuman, Bal Brahmachari. He maintains celibacy and so on. And he said, oh, I can't be more specific. Very, very powerful man. Right? Devotees, he could like put a piano on top of him and nothing happened to him. So strong he was. Piano more than 1,000 pounds. He had that blessing from Hanuman Baba. But then one day, he had to show up a little more. So when they put the piano on top of him, they said, put some more weight on top of him. They put a chair on top of the piano. And they put a woman, Hanuman Bal. They put a woman who was in Hanuman priest. On top of that, from the time he climbed, like a tomato, he was squashed to death. This happened right in Trinidad here. Many of us we don't know about these kind of things, you know. Yeah. And about this, I'm going to give one last one. This happened in India. Well, from India told me this, he had a story crazy many years ago up here. He and a friend, they found a book that told them how to make Hanuman Baba appear in 5 Tuesdays time. Now they could read the Sanskrit and English from India, but they had to go to a certain temple and do whatever they had to do. They were told what to do, reading it. I won't tell you. So we have many people here, you know, where they want to see Hanuman. And I don't want to end up like this. So when the first day they did whatever they had to do on Tuesday, fasted and so on, followed appropriately. They felt the hair stand up on them. Good, yeah, vibration. Second Tuesday, went back, doing everything properly. The fellow tell me, sit on it. When we went back, we placed on a sheet a little bit. We said, aha, thing working. We see Hanuman Baba. The third Tuesday, when we went back, but I got a little frightened, he was telling me. He said, one of the time of fun, I said, you go where you won't see Hanuman, I go outside and see him. You go inside and see him. Fellow friend went inside, and he did what he had to, and he did it most appropriately, following everything. But was he prepared? And they said the place began to rock violently, and the Hanuman Murti cracked. And out of that Murti, a huge serpent came out. People talk about Harry Potter, you can see serpent here. When that serpent not Nagini, they're not Nagini, there's Nag. Nag come out. And when the fellow closed his eyes and praying, you know, but when he doing anything good, thing working. When the snake came out, came to his face right here. And he felt something there and broke his concentration. When he opened his eyes, he saw a snake right there. He screamed. The gentleman in place told me, he said, Pandit, he ran out of the temple. He passed me straight. He ran home, he passed the house and he was back. But I make up that. He went home and for 3 days he remained so eyes staring so. And he died. This happened. Now, this is when people try to interfere with energies and they're not prepared. So Hanuman, monkey god, however you want to see whatever. Hanuman is Shiva Ikaras Rudra. He is Shiva himself in this form. Don't skylark with it. Treat it seriously. It depends upon where you are. Now bhakti, devotion, sincerity, don't play games with Hanuman. Don't play games. But if you really have that belief, that faith, right, anything is possible. But everything is possible. And devotees, I mentioned this to you already, Hanuman Bahuk, you see me Hanuman again? I did Hanuman Bahuk just to see the power of it. Just to see the power of it. On Tuesdays, many years ago, Panituation, Shervani, they were small children. I came on lunchtime from school, and godmother said, look, it have a monkey in place. I said, I just come for lunch and call me monkey. I thought she called me the monkey. She said, no, it have a monkey. And this monkey was right around on the perimeter of defense. Monkey. Where this monkey came from? Nobody knew. Well, I really felt something about that. And said, Hanuman, monkey came. Curiosity again, so let me try it again. And another Tuesday I tried it. When I went inside, Umesh and Sharmani, both of them getting ready to go to school. Godmother getting ready to go to school. Umesh might remember. They put their hand like this and they put their mouth so, and they jump in all about. Look, eyes on the man. I freeze. I use it just to see what will happen. And I use it one more time. And Umesh spoke about boot. Right? They want to frighten people. But they are negative forces. I want to say it publicly. But a terrible force once upon a time. And the only thing I can remember at that point in time, midnight, I was alone home. Midnight. Dogs. I had 2 dogs. They were like sadhu. They never bark. And this particular night, they jumped in over the gate. Somebody came to meet me. They were seeing something. Umesh, Sharmani, godmother sleeping inside. They don't know anything about this. And when I saw this thing, I gave the people a guard to help them. Then I realized I'm alone. Now the guard I gave them, whatever it was, came with them. Can't go back with them. Bodyguard. And to be honest with you, I need man see downstairs. Right here. I get Hanuman Bahu. And I went upstairs and I sat there by myself and I started to recite Hanuman Bahu. Protection of Hanuman Baba. And this dog, one of them, barking. Terrible. Right? And then what happened? After finishing Hanuman Bahu, I said, Jai! The dog make a huge plunge like, and I hear push from upstairs. And the dog fell down, blowing hard. What did the dog saying? Cat or rat? And whatever it was, I won't give you description. It was seen about the year afterwards. Now you're not frightened. You're frightened only if you don't worship Hanuman. Hanuman Baba, we say, it builds your mind, and to make it perfectly right. What causes the problem? Fear in your mind. Fear. The mind becomes weak. When you worship Hanuman, the mind is strengthened. You overcome all fear. So good Vishal, they can't come near you. You believe with this? So Hanuman Jayanti is wonderful. Hanuman worship is great. Second to none. Right? And Hanuman is one of the forms of divinity that perhaps most over the world they worship. Hanuman will be very close. But at the end of it all, don't forget, Hanuman really is within you. This is the point where Tumesh have been driving home over and over, trying to find him inside. He's here. So I will just do one final bhajan. We conclude, make preparation for the final bhajan. The both is simple bhajan. We all know it. Nothing must be machine ke old. Pavan talay sankat harana mangal murti Rama Lakhan Sita sahit hriday basu surahu Lal dehwani vase arudhala Vaj dev danal dalan Jai Gapishu O jan par kripa karo Hanuman E jan par kripa karo Hanuman Jan par kripa karo Hanuman Hanuman मर्दन कुशल्याई की जाए अंजलि के जाए हनुमान के जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान संकट मोचन नाम तुम्हारो धर्म सुंदर जब पर धर्म सुंदर संकट मोचन नाम तुम्हारो धर्म सुंदर जब पर धर्म सुंदर आदर सुखार वाल मुखा मुखम में मागर मार ए मुखम में हम कना के जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान जन पर कृपा करो लक्ष्मण मोची पर धरनी में पीयूष जीवन पीयूष जीवन लक्ष्मण मोची पर धरनी में पीयूष जीवन पीयूष जीवन जनक सुता को शोक निवारो रघुवंश जय सतनाम हे रघुवंश जय सतनाम हे जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान 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 एक पैठ बता रही राम मारो देखिए बड़ा जन पर देखिए बड़ा एक पैठ बता रही राम मारो देखिए बड़ा जन पर देखिए बड़ा मन के राष्ट्र देव आपने दर्शन हे आपने दर्शन जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान 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 राम के सुख मारो धरनी हनुमान जन पर धरनी हनुमान राम के सुख मारो धरनी हनुमान जन पर धरनी हनुमान तुलसी राम हनुमान भक्त नाम हनुमान हे भक्त नाम हनुमान अरे भक्त नाम हनुमान कृपा करो हनुमान जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान हे जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान हे जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान हे जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान ओ जन पर कृपा करो हनुमान जन पर कृपा बोले श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की the blessings of God to be showered upon all of his devotees. Blessings.
We join in our prayer. Om Sri Manmahaganadhipati Swaha. Om Sri Gauri Mata Swaha. Om Sri Prithvi Mata Swaha. Om Sri Panchopalevaya Swaha. Om Hrim Srim Chandikaya Namah Swaha. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaya Vichye Swaha. Om Hrim Srim Lakshmi Vyo Namaha Swaha. Om Srim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha. Om Krim Kaliyai Namaha Swaha. Om Sri Tara Devi Swaha. Om Sri Tripura Sundari Devi Swaha. Om Sri Bhuvaneshwari Devi Swaha. Om Sri Tripura Bhairavi Devi Swaha. Om Sri Chinnamasta Devi Swaha. Om Sri Dhumavati Devi Swaha. Om Sri Bagalamukhi Devi Swaha. Om Sri Matangi Devi Swaha. Om Sri Kamala Devi Swaha. Om Sri Swaha Mata Bhyo Namo Namaha Swaha. Om Hrim Shashti Devi Bhyo Namo Namaha Swaha. Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha. Om Sri Sita Ramachandraya Bhyo Namo Namaha Swaha. Om Sri Radha Krishnaya Bhyo Namo Namaha Swaha. Om Sri Hum Hanumate Namaha Swaha. Om Sri Aditya Devaya Swaha. Om Sri Chandra Devaya Swaha, Om Sri Mangal Devaya Swaha, Om Sri Buddha Devaya Swaha, Om Sri Brihaspati Devaya Swaha, Om Sri Shukra Devaya Swaha, Om Sri Shani Devaya Swaha, Om Sri Rahave Namaha Swaha, Om Sri Ketave Namaha Swaha, Om Sri Ahim Devaya Swaha, Om Sri Ishtadevaya Swaha, Om Sri Kudevaya Swaha, Om Sri Asthan Devaya Swaha, Om Sri Vastudevaya Swaha, Om Sarvadevata Sarvadevibhyo Namo Namaha Swaha, Om Sri Anant Swarupaya Brahmane Namaha Swaha, Om Sri Guruvebhyo Namaha Swaha. We will stand with you. We make our final thing. Om Namah Shambhavaya Cha Mayo Bhavaya Cha. Om Namah Shankaraya Cha Mayaskaraya Cha. Om Namah Shivaya Cha Shivkaraya Cha. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Sarvam Vai Purnavam Swaha. Om Sarva Papaharam Divyam Gangyam Nirmalam Jam Achmanam Chamaya Dattam Hitam Purushotama Achmanyam Samarpayami Sri Agindevaya Namo Namaha.
Glory Sri Pavan Putra Hanuman ki Jai. So devotees, this evening we will chant Hanuman Baba Aarti. And you know, I would like to suggest to all the young boys in particular, I'm not seeing too many young ones I'm looking for, seen a few. You have everything to gain by worshiping Hanuman Baba. Everything to gain. Adults also, but especially the young ones. Parents, you try to get them involved in this worship. And all the distractions will be overcome from your way. Believe me. So Hanuman Baba is the answer. Worship. Genuinely. Devotees, while we perform Aarti, those of you who came in a bit late, for the to make facilitate you with your offerings as we proceed to wrap up this evening's proceedings. So Aarti Kijiye Hanuman Allah ki. If you don't know the entire thing, just join you with Aarti Kijiye Hanuman. Right? So, simple. And the tune simple, Ramayana Aarti. सब भूल दिखाई लंका सब टूटी नरक पवन सूरज पाए लंका जागी असुर संहारी लंका जागी सिया लक्ष्मण मूर्छित आयस जीवन प्राण Krishna Chandra Ananda Rupa Jai 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 Durga Mata, Jai Durga Mata, Jai Durga Mata, Jai Jai Mata. Jai Kali Mata, Jai Kali Mata, Jai Kali Mata, Jai Jai Mata. Jai Kali Mata, Jai Kali Mata, Jai Kali Mata, Jai Jai Mata. Jai Lakshmi Mata, Jai Lakshmi Mata, Jai Lakshmi Mata, Jai Jai Mata. Jai Lakshmi Mata, Jai Lakshmi Mata, Jai Lakshmi Mata, Jai Jai Mata. Jai Sharda Mata, Jai Sharda Mata, Jai Sharda Mata, Jai Jai Mata. Jai Sharda Mata, Jai Sharda Mata, Jai Sharda Mata, Jai Jai Mata. Jai Hanumanta, Jai Hanumanta, Jai Hanumanta, Mahadeva. Jai Hanumanta, Jai Hanumanta, Jai Shiva Shankar, Jai Shiva Shankar, Jai Shiva Shankar, Mudras. Jai Shiva Shankar, Jai Shiva Shankar, Jai Shiva Shankar, Mudras. Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Jai Rama. Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Jai Rama. Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Jai Rama. Shiva Hare Shiva Ram Sage Prabhu Trividhata Banivarana He Vibhu Arjaneshwar Yadav Pahi Mam Shiva Hare Vijayam Gurumevaram Shiva Hare Vijayam Gurumevaram Pratidinam Kushalam Jai Mangalam Pratidinam Kushalam Jai Mangalam Om Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu Mangalam Garudadvaja Mangalam Pundarikaksha Mangalayagano Hari Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu Mangalam Garudadvaja Mangalam Garudadvaja Mangalam Garudadvaja Om Mantrihinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janaganam Yat Pujatam Maya Deva Paripurnam Tadastu Om Asatoma Satkama Om Tamasoma Jyotirgama Om Mrityurma Amritam Om Tvameva Mata Jagita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu
सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विराजमानं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव ॐ शान्ति 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 हरि ओम। हर हर महादेव हर हर महादेव हर हर महादेव। बोले श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय। हर शक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। बोले श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। बोले श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। बोले श्री स्वाहा माता की जय।
Thank you for joining with us yet again as we celebrate the auspicious occasion of Hanuman Jayanti. Your cumulative prayers definitely create a wonderful environment that we all benefit from. A special thank you must be given to our Paramacharya, Pandit Hari Prasad, and our spiritual leader, Pandit Dr. Umesh Prasad, who has successfully, like so many other times, led our devotions today. Thank you to our Shrotas who regularly seize the opportunity to perform great sacrifice to Hanuman Baba. Many persons have helped in the preparations for today, and we thank you for your support. One person in particular, I am sure we would all agree, deserves a bit of extra recognition for her consistent and willing services towards Gandhika and SWAHA. Why today, you might ask? Well, this particular person celebrated her birthday last Tuesday, 12th April. When at her age, she claims to be a mere 95 years old. Please join me in a round of applause as we wish Auntie Rupati a very happy birthday. Auntie Rupati has done so much for Gandhika, teaching Hindi, training up members for Swedish competitions. You think it, she has done it. More so, she is the go-to person when we need to find out anything. It could be 5 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock in the night. Auntie Rupati is there. Of course, when you call or message her random things like, what does the block till represent? Expect to get answers like, and I quote, read page 48 of the letter, question 8.5. All in all, she is a humble, well-qualified, and terrific person who just keeps giving of herself. Thank you, Auntie Rupati, for all that you have done and the knowledge that you willingly pass on. Please join me for another round of applause for Auntie Rupati. As we come to the end of today's celebration, we would like to remind you that there will be no Sunday morning service tomorrow. Meals have been prepared and can be collected along with Arti and Prasad in front. Do have a safe weekend and we look forward to seeing you next week, Sunday, as we continue with our Sunday morning services. Sijana.
Kegiatan berikan.